This is the Moshpit Backstage podcast for punk, metal and rock interviews and segments.
We're in the studio with Pagan now.
Hey.
Ciao, ciao.
How you
How
going?
are you guys?
We're good.
We're very well,
We're
thank
good.
you.
Thank you for having us on your show.
That's all right. We've also got Ben here. He hosts,
Executive producer?
yes, executive
Not with
producer.
G'day, mate.
Doesn't usually jump on my show because it's not metal, it's hardcore,
Yeah.
metalcore.
Yeah.
We were talking about the difference before, and how I feel like there's a lot of people they're just into metal or they're just into metalcore. Where do you guys feel like you fall in that, all these different subgenres?
It's all, you know what? It's all the same. Every single bit of it is exactly the same. Everyone's just as angry and confused as everyone else. So, whatever. We're just, we're just a couple of funny people with, some emotions. And we, just like to yell about them and play real loud like everyone else. So wherever, we'll play with anyone. We'll be compared to anyone. It doesn't matter, But yeah, it's all just rock and roll. At the end of the day, it all comes from the same place.
You're
it's
so
all cool.
right.
Yeah. I think so.
Well, one of your live show is one of the probably the most hectic and fun live shows I've ever seen.
Thank you.
What kind of goes into that, your preparation?
What do you think, Xavier? What do we do?
I think generally we... I'm just trying to think about the rules of what we can and can't say on here. But, I know that just recently in the band, last 6 months, we started thinking about properly what a show actually entails and, the things you have to think about when you walk out. You play a first song, let it mold into the second song, and then introduce and bring the party in, and then you want to try to get everyone to come as far forward as possible, and then the dancey songs kick in, and you notice a difference in the music changing, and do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I think we're I just think that each of us try to do something. We try to spend a lot of time together before we play, but I think we all have our own little personal rituals that we have to kind of get into the space, which I've never really cared about maybe a few years ago, but now it's become almost like a rite of passage, to be able to do it and do it well. I think it's just very important that we just kind of get into the right headspace, and it's cool. It just makes for a better, it's a more enjoyable show for us because we just I think for me, I don't know about you, Zave, but I kind of tune out for that 30 minutes or sometimes 40 minutes now we play. It's I kind of come away from it not really knowing what just happened because it's sort of like a switch I have to flick, but which it just makes it kind of a bit more. I know I'm having a good time though, which just switching off those little anxieties and that self-consciousness that I think comes with playing in front of a crowd of people, So it's just sort of weird out of body experience, I guess.
I will add something quickly as well. Generally, in the last 6 months, me and Dan just decided, whether it's a big show with, X amount of people or a small pub show, that we would always walk into the center of the stage. We'd give each other 2 kisses, and then the drums would start, and then the feedback will start. So it'll just be, that's just how we start every show now. So that's something beautiful that we do.
Yeah, little rituals. A bit
Absolutely.
huge. We learning to kind of
flow with.
Yeah.
I did want to ask what Nikki is like, because obviously she is an amazing part of your band.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of X Factor, I feel. She's so cool. And you guys played the Femme Fatale event last week.
Yeah, it was cool.
So just tell us a little bit about Nikki, I guess, and like
well,
her
the
role.
cool thing about this question is that Nikki's in Vietnam at the moment, so I can say whatever I want about Nikki Berman. But no, Nikki is an exceptional person. I don't know if anyone listening to this show has ever been in a band where they're not like the singer, but there's someone who plays behind a singer. It is the most like comfortable feeling in the world playing behind someone like Nikki, because I can literally do whatever I want, and I know that like probably no one's watching me because everyone's kind of got their eye on Nikki.
Oh, yeah.
But she's just like she was just like born to do this in some
absolutely.
capacity. Like and she writes like the most beautiful lyrics, which like I think if you talk to her, she's usually pretty tongue in cheek and pretty funny and stuff. So you might not necessarily think that she's I don't know how to say this without sounding like a dick, but like she's sort of like there's this sort of really like kind of like poetic and clever and an amazing sort of side to her that maybe she doesn't show off when you're just kind of sitting with her having a conversation. But yeah, she's just like definitely like I think like a real dark horse for a lot of people, because I just don't think people expect someone of her, like her demeanor and her stature, to be this like force, you know. And I feel weird saying it because it's like she's in my band, but she's insane. Like she's just next level. She needs to be, whether it's our band or another band, like she needs to be in a band that does pretty good, I think. Yeah.
Hopefully it's you guys.
All right, that'd be sick.
That'd be
nice.
awesome.
I'd love to ride her coattails to the top. It'd be awesome.
Do you want to talk a little bit about what you have planned in the future? You guys are planning on releasing a few more songs, EP, anything you're not allowed to talk about, but you can tell us.
Nah, we'll tell you everything.
Yeah. Don't worry about that. We had a road plan sort of in our own minds for a long time. We were just going to keep sort of releasing singles upon singles, and we actually had a bunch recorded, and we've got them stashed away. And then, we had someone telling us in one ear that, like, you guys are doing great. You're just releasing a song by song and you're releasing like separate artwork for it, and you guys are getting great shows. Like, you shouldn't stop that train. You should keep doing that. And we're like, yeah, maybe you're right. So we kept recording like 4 songs every 5 or 6 months or something. And then we sat down with EVP Records, and they were sort of just like, why don't you guys do an album? We're just like, but we just did all these songs and we've got them lying in this little dark corner, and we're going to put them out. And they're like, don't release anything. Put them on an album and re-record them. And we're just like, oh, I guess it makes sense. Yeah. So I guess that's where we just sort of finished up in the last few months.
Yeah. So we've got an album coming out. It's done. It's
completed. It's
sick. I think it's real sick. I think it's a really good record. Like and that's another like weird thing to say, but I'm really proud of it. And I think like we've all played in bands for a long time, and I can only speak for myself when I say like I've never been this excited to show people something that I've made musically before, but I think we just got way more invested into this record than any of us were really planning on doing, because I think it just kind of clicked from the start. It sounded really good, and it was like a really like, I think it came at a good time for us all personally, like from a kind of like
we're on a good headspace to sort of knuckle down and put the blood, sweat and tears in. Yeah.
So we've got this record coming out. I think it's like tentatively due out in May. We have a single coming out real soon, but I can't say too much more about that. But it's soon.
Yeah, the last little bit's getting worked out for that.
Yeah. There's basically we're basically just in the process of sort of ironing out that, but and then we'll do some touring for that and stuff. It's cool.
Awesome. We might just play a song. I've got Surfer's Paradise.
Classic.
Down here.
Yeah, it's an oldie.
Yeah.
It's actually
one of my favorites.
First song we wrote as Pagan.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, very first.
Cool. Now, you mentioned that was one of your first songs you made. Yeah. Like, sort of looking back on that, especially since you've recorded new material, or you've recorded some material, how do you sort of look back on that? Do you sort of think, I would change this and this and this, or do you sort of disassociate? How does that all work for you?
Man, I like listening to that just then. Like I said, I haven't heard that recording for a while. I feel like everyone sounds like they're 12. Like literally like just all not only Mickey but like everyone.
The maturity of the instruments.
Yeah. But like I wrote that song so many like even kind of like years before Pagan started too. Like I remember like I was living in this like disgusting house in Flemington that like it had rats and stuff, and like I was sitting on the couch, and I think that was like the first song that I kind of wrote it, and I was like, yeah, maybe this is what I want this new band to sound like or whatever. But like I don't even think we sound like that anymore. Like maybe we do to someone who's not in the band or whatever, but yeah, it's just we don't play that song live anymore.
Yeah, you know why? Because we tour with Totally Unicorn. Like we just mentioned this before in the break, but we did a tour with them 2 years ago. It was 2016, like around September, and we were playing in Tasmania at the Brisbane Hotel, and it was the first song we'd open with. And I've got like a small part where I sing in that, and I remember singing it and then just sitting back on my right foot, and my right knee just collapsed, like it dislocated out to the side, and I fell down. My guitar headstock hit the drums, and I just being like, oh my god, my kneecap is hanging out to the right. And I just straightened my knee up real quickly, everything like folded back into place, and I just thought... The most
disgusting thing I've ever seen.
I am done. This is the second show of 8 shows, and this has happened, and I just stood back up, and someone in the crowd gave me 2 shots of whiskey. I just remember standing up on one leg, finishing the entire set, and then just went upstairs into the beds upstairs, just put my pants off and just looked at my knee, and it was just like so swollen and disgusting. This song has just destroyed me.
Yeah. So. That song is cursed, basically. Yeah. So anyone that listens to it is going to dislocate their knee. all the millions of listeners listening nationwide are all going to have dislocated knees.
Strap your knees up tonight, please.
Yeah. Bad luck. Mm-hmm. Bad luck.
Yeah, it's interesting. You talked a little bit earlier about sort of your different approach now. You're going to actually release an album as opposed to releasing a bunch of songs over a period of time. Like with me, I'm hosting the Metal Hour. We play all the metal stuff, and it's sort of when I think of music, it's like you release an album every 2 to 3 years, and that's just what you do. But with the Punk Hour that Beck hosts, our punk host, it's a lot of bands, and they'll just release a song and do like a bunch of shows all around, and that seems so foreign to me. Could you talk about like what do you think of those two different approaches?
Yeah, I'll be like totally honest with you, and it's like the most not punk thing to say ever. But like if we didn't have like the help of a small record label, we probably wouldn't have made a record. Like we probably would have made an album. They genuinely helped us a lot. Like just in terms of like, not only like they gave us a little bit of money, which helped as well. But like, and that's the kind of the not punk thing to talk about. But like even just the fact that there was kind of like people who were sort of, I guess, had enough faith in Pagan to want to kind of get behind it and say, oh, you know what, you're doing this, but you could be doing this thing, was such a big confidence booster for us. Like it was almost like, okay, well maybe maybe there are people that want to hear this and want to hear more of what we make. But now looking at it, it's like doing the singles thing was cool. It was a lot of fun, and it was very like low commitment. Like you just kind of put a song out and you play some shows. Like that's all there really was.
Yeah, it was very much at your own pace.
Totally. But like the record was so much fun to make because it was sort of like we had this mindset of like, all right, now we have to do like 11, 12 songs, but so it doesn't like, so we don't have to put a blast beat in every song, you know, like we don't have to have a disco part in every song because we've just got this. It's like turning an A4 sheet of paper into a massive canvas to do this huge painting on. It doesn't all need to fit into one thing. You've got, you know, and that's, I guess, how we approach the record too, is it's almost like linear. There's almost like a narrative to the record in a, like, it's a bit conceptual in a kind of like it's not like a Rush record or anything like that, but there's definitely like a kind of a story and some sort of reoccurring themes that run through it, and you just have a lot of room to play with ideas and you know, kind of develop like a storyline or something. I think So that was cool. It was definitely like it was fun to have all that room to run around in, basically.
You mentioned the first question that you sort of want to group everything together, but like everyone sort of tends to pick everything apart. You'll play a death metal show, and there'll be death metal bands there.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes sense, but like, what do you think we should do? Like, how do we kind of broaden people's perspectives? Like, and that enables people with sort of different mindsets to come together a bit. How do we sort of break down those barriers a little bit more?
You just kind of have to... I think that, like, a lot of bands maybe don't give credit where credit's due to people who just genuinely like music. Like, I think that... And promoters as well of shows. I think that it's okay to think that someone that listens to, death might also be into other stuff, and I think that a lot of times maybe the monetary aspect of the return that comes from playing a show or whatever, it kind of it puts people into this small corner where they're worried that maybe having a band that's kind of different on their lineup might alienate people, or maybe putting together a lineup of bands that don't sound anything alike might not draw the same crowd as 4 bands that all are all as heavy as each other or something like that. But I think on the other end of the spectrum, I don't think you can really do anything about it. I think everyone's just got to do what they do, and hope for the best. I think we just kind of do our thing, and when we book our own shows, we just try to. Our thing is that we just try to get bands that sound pretty different to us. We played a show in Brisbane like 2 or 3 weeks ago with like a band called Hope Drone, who
love that
yeah,
band.
they're amazing,
Yeah,
right?
I've talked to Chris Rowden from Hope Drone.
Yeah, and they're kind of like doing that sort of like super melodic, like black metal, very modern black metal kind of thing.
Very tight. Very,
very tight. And then another band called Terra Pines, who are like a sort of like shoegazy kind of, kind of post rock almost sort of band, who were rad, and it all worked really well. All 3 bands suited each other really well, but that's what we want. It's not necessarily what everyone wants, but I also do think that a lot of other people do want that. So I don't know, man. You can spend years and years trying to change people's minds on things, but all you can do is what you do. And
yeah, I think someone in a Nails t-shirt watching a Pagan show, you might find them bopping along a little bit to some of the dancier stuff.
Totally.
It's kind of cool,
Totally.
Yeah, it sort of sums it to a degree.
Last question for me. I don't know if you have any more, Mary Claire. Where did the name come from?
Man, it was the very first name anyone suggested. It was Matt Marasco, our lovely drummer. He literally just said, "Well, what do you think of the name Pagan?" And I think,
wasn't it the Pagans?
No, it was it was going to be Pagans with an S.
Yeah, with an S.
It was an S, and we tried to. This is a good story. We tried to book our first show, and there's a punk band from the 70s called The Pagans, and I'd never heard of them before, and they're rad. And we tried to book our first show at the Tote, and I wrote this like super long-winded email like, "Oh, hello Tote, we want to book our first show, and this is our idea for the bands that we want to get." And like, it was a very long, much too long an email for that sort of thing, but it's what I do. And the guy literally just wrote back, and he didn't write any words. He just sent a link to the Pagans EP from like 1976 or something. And I was like, oh, we'll probably drop the S then. And that's what the name is. But I mean, like, I think that the reason the name resonated so well with us is just this kind of idea of like, if you look into paganism as a religion or anti-religion or whatever, it's sort of it's such a broad thing, and it's this sort of idea of not believing in one specific god and kind of like looking to things like nature or to all different sort of things as a place of worship. And I guess it, like, musically speaking, it kind of resembles what we do in terms of music. We're not trying to do one thing. We're not trying to do anything really. It's just we just kind of like what we like, and we write what we write, and it's I guess it's just like a paganistic form of rock and roll music.
Cool.
Cool. My last question is, before I
Please.
will let you get away from us, how I wrap up every interview.
Oh.
Because I'm very passionate about Australian music.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask, who are your favourite Australian artists going around at the moment?
We just played like 2 shows with a band called Body Parts, who are like a 3 out of 4 girl band from Melbourne, who are real sick. They're rad. I really like them.
They could definitely get us start shooting up, I think, in the next, 6 months or
Shooting
so.
up in success, you mean?
Yeah, in success,
Yeah.
100%, yeah. Amazing group, yeah.
Radio.
Yeah. I don't know, like, I've always been a fan of the Tasmanian dudes, Luca Brasi, just because, like, going back into bands we used to play, and I know Dan would probably agree that they're just, really nice guys that, like, helped us out in bands we used to be in and, like, showed us around Tasmania when we went, and I know those guys are just doing amazing things for Australian music, and I just hope, all the best for them for the future and everything they do, and they're just unstoppable train at the moment, so I'm really looking forward to their new stuff.
Totally. There's so many at the moment. Australian music's, like, so good at the moment.
Right? We're so lucky.
Yeah, it's rad. But, like, New High Tension's going to be sick.
Yes.
Totally Unicorn are obviously our best friends in the world, so I can't not say them. And they're, like, the sickest band as well. Clowns, King Parrot. I could literally sit here and name bands forever, but, we usually try to, we try to play with bands that we like. So if anyone wants a proper answer to this question, just come to a show, because we're probably playing with bands that we really like, I guess. That's probably the best answer.
Yeah. I guess you would hope you would like them as well.
You'd be surprised. No.
All right. Well, thank you so much, guys.
Wow, thanks for having us. Fun.
I'm sure we'll be waiting with bated breath for the new album.
Cool.
And I'll be sure to catch you guys again at a show.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Moshpit Backstage podcast. You can subscribe to us on iTunes and Omni. To find out more about the show, go to www.syn.org.au/moshpit. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/moshpitonsyn, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at moshpitsyn. The regular Moshpit radio show broadcasts punk, rock and metal tunes and interviews every Thursday nights on SYN 9.7 on FM and digital radios. Listeners outside of Melbourne, Australia can stream SYN 9.7 online at www.syn.org.au. Thanks to Vintage Ruin for the music.
Hi, this is Tommaso from Flash Gun Apocalypse.
Hi, I'm Enid from Girls School.
I am Phoebe Pinnock from Heavenly Axe.
Hey, this is Gary Olney of the Misfits.
Hey, this is Kat Sproul from Horizon's Edge, and you're listening to the Moshpit on SYN FM.
Hi, this is Einar from Leopard.
Hi, I'm Virginia Lilly from the band Lily.
This is Raul from 1349.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Ali from Zebrahead.
Hey, everybody, this is Charlie Benante with Anthrax, and you are listening to the Moshpit on SYN.